I grew up I'm from Inglewood. We were broke, but we didn't really know we were broke because everybody else around us was broke too. And my dad had a industrial accident at General Motors and he lost one of his lungs and he got a pretty good settlement. And so it totally changed our life. When I was probably 5th or 6th grade, we moved to, right outside of Rimpall, right outside of Hancock Park, Hancock Park adjacent, and, just moved onto the west side and kind of had a different experience from that point on or whatever. But it gave me the opportunity to sort of see both sides. That's sort of how my life has been since then. I went to start out school here, then I went to school in Atlanta, quote-unquote black college, but it's historically black university, Clark University. And I got a chance to see both sides, coming from LA, going to the South, coming from a major university, going to a smaller black college, coming from Inglewood, going to quote-unquote Hancock Park. And it really showed me sort of a world that I don't think a lot of people get to see on both sides. I don't think a lot of people who are in those more privileged sectors of the community get to see the more underprivileged sectors of the community. And I got to see that. And at the same time, I don't think a lot of people who are in, have a mainstream education get to see what it's like to go to a more focused, education like a black university. And I really appreciate having both of those because it really prepared me for knowing what I wanted to do, which is writing, and telling my story, which I felt was a little bit different than was being presented. So when I got out of college, I immediately started PAing and knew I wanted to. First, I thought I wanted to direct. I knew I wanted to do something behind the camera. First, I thought I wanted to direct. Then I realized that writing was a lot more suited to who I am and sort of getting my story out there. And I knew I had a story. I felt like I had a story to tell that was unique.
Okay, so I'm just your standard, regular old, incredibly handsome, unbelievably charismatic black dude. Now, this drooling pigment challenge mixed race woman is my wife, Rainbow. And despite what she looks like right now, she's a doctor.
This cast reminds me of my family, mainly because it's based directly, on my family. My wife is a doctor, a mixed race doctor. We have 5 kids. We sort of pulled ourselves up, bootstrapped ourselves up in a way, and the world that we see them growing up in is a lot different than the world that we remember.
Why do you have to get to school so early, son?
Tryouts are today. I want to get a little extra work in, so I'd be ready.
Okay. Work on the handle. Lock down that point guard spot.
There's no point guards in field hockey, Dad.
Field hockey?
Who are these kids that we were raising? Because they didn't really remind me of anything that I remember, what quote unquote being black was. Their experience was completely different than mine. They were a little bit of a filtered down version of my ideology of what black was for what I was growing up. So they were sort of blackish.
All right, listen up. I may have to be urban at work, but I'm still going to need my family to be black. Not black-ish, but black.
And at the same time, I looked around at the world that they were in, and the world that they were in was had a little bit more black in it than I remember ever. We had a black president. Miley Cyrus was twerking. Kim Kardashian had a big behind. And that was stuff growing up that was like, oh my God, look at her butt. That wasn't something that mainstream society accepted. And all of a sudden it was beyond accepted, it was praised. The rest of society had an additive feature, or additive sort of black component that they had given to the Americana, the zeitgeist of what Americana is. And they were sort of blackish.
Yo, Dr. Drew. This is Josh, not an honorary brother. Just Andre. Just Andre's fine, too.
Right, sorry, Andre. Hey, bro. Andre. Listen, we're working on this Folgers copy, and we wanted to know how you think a black guy would say good morning.
Probably just like that.
And so I felt like the world that my kids were growing up in was in a lot of ways sort of blackish. They were a little bit less than what I had seen, my idea of it, and everyone else was a little bit more. And so it was that homogeny that sort of gave me the idea to write this story.